Hi, and welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve, also known as Dramatic Knits.
And I'm Callie, also known as Calsters.
And today is Monday, July 30th, 2018. This is episode 312. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back one more week. And if you're new, hopefully you enjoyed today's show and you'll come back in the future. You might notice we got a little bit of light. Let there be light. Usually, we just kind of jankify my light that I use for crafting for the podcast. And last episode, it was about on its last leg. And I was like, you know what? I don't need to break my light for recording. So I invested in some cheap yet fancy studio lighting. So you'll probably see them on the glares on my glasses. There's not much I can do about that. As of right now, we'll have to finagle with lighting placement in the future, but I think one needs to come more from the side than straight on. But we've been waiting to record long enough, so here we are. Anyway, enough about lighting. Let's get into what's been going on with us the last month, really, 5 weeks, and with me the last 2 weeks. Last time we spoke, my sister and I were getting ready to attend the Super Summers Knit Together. And so we drove down on Wednesday. We had a lot of fun driving down and got to SSK and checked in. And there was a misconception with the hospitality staff that assumed we were husband and wife and were going to share a bed. That was not the case. And so after some rigmarole, they, found us the normal situation with 2 different rooms and you share a Jack and Jill bathroom, but the suite that they had set us up with had a double bed in one of them, and I was like, yes please, because usually you only get a twin. So I had a nice big room, which is nice. The air was a little the first night, but then they fixed it. And yeah, SSK was a lot of fun, and got my t-shirt. I'll show you some other goodies I've got, of course. I was really good at purchasing stuff, but I still came home with a bag full of things. So Thursday, my sister and I went to the Johnny Cash Museum in Nashville. So she wanted to do something downtown, so we Ubered down there and went to the museum, and then went to some record store that Elvis played at, and then Ubered back and had lunch, and I took a nap. And then the tasting room was that night, and something else I thought was Thursday night that we did. But we hung out and knit Thursday. Friday we had 2 classes. We had top-down sweater construction with Isabel Kramer, who flew all the way over from Germany to teach at the Super Summer Knit Together. And she was a great teacher and a lot of knowledge, and it was cool just to see some of her sweaters. She took away a handful of gem knowledge bites that's really what you, I think, hope to get at a class. You can't remember everything, but there's a few certain things that I really was like, okay, that's good to know, or I haven't thought of that. We had lunch on Friday, and then we came back and we had basic weaving with Esther Rogers, and she is a character, and it was interesting to learn. We were really doing tapestry weaving, like on a peg loom, and so it was interesting to learn some of the stitches, and I think a lot of us toward the end, we were trying to incorporate those stitches, but we wanted to just kind of keep working on the piece that we were working on, so some of those end stitches we didn't all get because we were just wanted to focus on what we were doing. Whether that's my type of weaving, I don't think so. It's a lot more time and labor intensive, and I really have taken a liking to the rigid huddle cricket that I was gifted and I've been weaving, and you'll see some of that here in the future, or here later on in the show. And but it was good, an interesting class to take. So after that on Friday, we set up for the market, and that was not too bad, a little warm, but it was okay. And then Saturday was the market, and it was great. And there's so many of you who came by and said that you watched the show. Thank you so very much. A lot of people came to the open market in the afternoon. I think they had well over 300 people from the outside market or outside come into the afternoon market. The morning was just for attendees. I was excited to have the teachers in our booth, and Isabel Kramer and Laura Nelkin and oh my gosh, Kristen Kapoor. Sorry, they all walked away with some Lady Men Fiber Arts yarn to do some future designs. So I'm super excited. Nothing in the near future, designing. I'm realizing this about designers, but they usually plan year or two out. So it'll be a little while, but that's okay. I'm willing to wait. But that was exciting to meet them and chat with them and, make some friendships. And as always, Laura Nelkin and I always banter, and she was right across from us selling her kits and patterns, and we were making fun and joking. So, and then we tore down on Saturday, which went relatively easy. For tearing down and lugging everything. And then I changed and we went and had some dinner and had closing ceremonies. And I won some door prizes for the first time since year one. I won 2.
Nice.
And my sister, she's not on. She's downstairs working. One, she needs to work. We're prepping for Stitches Midwest, and we are like yarn to the ends of the universe. Yeah. Yarn balls to the wall. But sorry.
I was there.
It's a bit crazy down there in terms of like the yarn that's packing
going on.
That's piling up to be reskeined and packaged and tagged but anyway, and so she decided not to join us this week, but she had a game plan and she did not put in for any prizes on the opening ceremonies. And she didn't even get up. And I was like, what is your issue? What's your problem? I want you to have fun. And then she told me later on, she's like, no, I looked through the prizes and there's one I want in particular. Lo and behold, come to closing ceremonies when all the... Hi! Sorry, I'm a little excited for a multitude of reasons. But anyway, closing ceremonies, they put out the rest of the prizes. And I saw Mandy, lighten up. And there was 2 big prizes. There was a sweater lot, mini skeins, and something else from one of the Nashville yarn stores, Bliss Yarns, for the Marled Magic by Stephen West. And then there was another sweater slot of Sweet Georgia for worsted boxy from House of Yarn. That was what my sister wanted. Those were like the 2 big prizes for the regular door prizes. So she had, I think, about 40 door prize tickets, which compared to... I'm sorry, I'm going to move my chair forward. It's hitting the door behind me, and it's bothering me. Anyway. No, you're fine. It's just me. Every time I move, it was hitting the door. Okay, so she had like 40 tickets, which is not a whole lot compared to some people who, and there were a lot of tickets in this bag. But she had strategically planned, like she was going to put some in, and then she like walked around with the crowd of people, and then she sprinkled a few more in, and then she stood to the back, and she would like pick somebody, and when they came around, she would sprinkle more in. Lo and behold, she won the sweaters lot of Sweet Georgia from House of Yarn in a beautiful greeny purple red.
That's going to look great on her.
Yeah, so, and she was so excited, and everybody was so jealous. Like, she had to go to the bathroom in the main building after closing ceremonies, and she was, like, 2-arming it, and the lady from House of Yarn had to, like, offer to hold it for her while she went to the bathroom, because people were joking about, like, jumping her in the bathroom to get the sweaters out of yarn, so... She was super excited, and I think it really, really made the trip for her to kind of have this next knitting goal on the horizon. So, but yeah, so Saturday we then stayed up late with a group of ladies, and we had a really good time joking around. Amy Beth was in our group of the Fat Squirrel Speaks podcast, and with her, it's always a hoot. So, and Angie from Camel City Dye Works, who I really got to know during SSK, she's a hoot and a half. And her friend, I'm sorry, totally forgot, Mary, I think it's Mary. But there was a bunch of people, too many to name. But we had a good time closing out the retreat, and it was a nice way to end the retreat. And then we got up on Sunday, we had breakfast, said our goodbyes to Leslie and Laura and a few other people. And we hit the road and drove the 6 hours home. So that was SSK. And then this past week has just been dyeing as much yarn as we possibly can, and doing a lot of, business things. Yesterday we kind of took the day off, and Andy and my mom and myself went down about an hour southeast of us to a town called Tuscola, and it has an outlet mall with about 30 different shops. And so we'd never been down there, and we went down there, just kind of for a day out, and ended up spending a little too much money, but that's what it is. Got some stuff and things. I'm super excited. So the second store we went into was called Harry and David's, which I had not heard of, but Andy was like, oh yeah, they do like gift basket stuff, like gift baskets and popcorn and candies and jams and stuff. And so I walked through and I was like, oh, I want some popcorn. And then I saw they had different flavored jams and marmalades and stuff. And they had Meyer lemon and blood orange. And I was like, ooh, that'd be really nice on toast. And they had little jars of it. So I picked up those two. And then they had samples of their chips with some of their salsas and their pepper and onion dips. And then they had mixed one with cream cheese, which looked good. I didn't try it. But they had a roasted pineapple with peppers, like relish salsa. That was thebomb.com, and I bought a jar of it. So Andy's like, oh, I thought we were just going to stop in here to look. And then I was like, the lady's like, can I put that on the counter for you? And I was like, yes, you can. So that was good to get out, and we still worked a little bit in the morning and, of course, when we got home. But so, yeah, that's been my 2 weeks. A lot of yarn and a little bit of shopping. So how has life been for you?
It's been busy, and
you're never busy. This is so odd for you.
I know, right? I don't know. Well, I do know. Steve knows. So what have I been up to the last month? Let's see. When Mandy and Steve recorded, Mandy and I had both gotten back from concerts. She and I went down to go see Macklemore and Kesha in St. Louis, and I had a prior engagement in the earlier part of the afternoon that day, and that will kind of foreshadow some other news. And so after that, we went to the Butterfly House in St. Louis, and that was really awesome. That was on my St. Louis bucket list, so being able to cross that off was really awesome. And let's see. Then we went out to eat. We went to B-Dubs, and that was amazing. I've never disappointed at B-Dubs. I feel like sometimes with service, but never food-wise. Once. Yeah. Anyways, long story short. But then we went to the concert, and it was a really great experience. In terms of the concert was really great. I occasionally say that I hate people, and this was one of those concerts where I was like, I hate certain people for ruining certain concert experiences. Just because it's like, if you want to drink and have a good time, I'm totally for it. But be responsible and respect everybody else around you. Like, don't get in my space, I won't get in yours. You won't have to hear me yell or cuss at you. And that's where we're at. That's what I like to say. We had a decent group around us. Not great, but not horrible either. So that was that. Good show. And then that whole next day was crazy because I still had to work, and I didn't pull into my house until 3 a.m. But I made Mandy drive because she's a night owl and I'm not. And so that was really great, not going to the concert by myself for that reason alone. So I slept a little bit. Actually, I slept quite a bit because she drove a lot of that. I got us out of the city in like the second town after you get out of St. Louis, like on the Illinois side. I pulled off and was like, I'm going to fall asleep, so you're going to need to drive. So that was beneficial. But yeah, the next day was a little rough at work. And then that following Saturday, so the Saturday of that same week, went and saw the same concert up in Chicago, which was a way better experience because I had bought lawn seats originally, like I did for the St. Louis one, and I signed up for text message alerts to upgrade my seats, and I did, and we got 18th row for the total cost of our tickets because a friend of mine and I went. Total cost for our tickets was $30 a piece, which you couldn't beat because I had a friend that was at the same concert and we grabbed a photo together. She was sitting like 4 or 5 rows behind us and she paid $90 for her tickets. So,
good deal.
Yeah, it was a great deal. And it worked out that we upgraded our seats because we didn't have to leave super early to get to the venue because it's only like 10 minutes away from my best friend's house. So, that was kind of the advantage of not going right at the time that the gates opened, especially because then you could upgrade your tickets. So that was really great. And I deadlifted in the morning and I like partied a little too hard. Like I wasn't drinking, but I was super into this concert because I knew the set list. I knew what was coming. And I felt my age. And I did not take any ibuprofen. And I really felt like every bit of muscle, like literally if you could have took a weighted bat to my legs just in general, that's how it felt. So, and then the next day my friend and I went and saw The Incredibles 2 and that was really good. And then that whole next week was a little bit of a blur, to be honest. Not too for sure.
Things have been crazy.
Yeah.
She's got fair coming up this
Yeah.
weekend, hence why she won't be at Stitches. It's like always the same weekend.
Yep.
It's always the first weekend in August.
Yeah.
So it's always our like busiest times for us.
Yeah.
One of our busiest now, but it's always your busiest time of year. So
Yeah.
that's why it's been a blur for her.
Yeah. We have a new girl at work that I'm helping train, and she's not getting it, and I don't understand how I can make it a little bit simpler. So that's been a challenge. That, and I really don't like her. I said it.
Remember a previous statement about not always liking people.
Yeah. But really, I have nothing nice to say.
So moving on.
But things are looking good and might change. And I'm going to hold off until we record next time.
There may be a big announcement next time.
Yeah, a major announcement.
Don't worry, she's not pregnant and I'm not getting married, so let's just take that off the table right now.
And I'm not engaged either, so... so I guess is to you on what that might be. But
you have to wait 2 more weeks, and we'll, even if for some reason something doesn't pan out, we'll let you know what it was. But it's better to get all the ducks in a row.
Yeah.
Rather than llama, duck.
Yeah, but I'm really excited. I think it will be good in the long run.
It'll be very good.
So...
Shall we get to the knitting?
I think we shall.
All right, it's only been 20 minutes. All right, so let's talk knitting. Let's talk finished objects because I have one and it's a doozy. I've been working really hard to get it done by this weekend and I've got some good news for you all. So I finished my Double Dipper by Lisa Ross, also known as Paper Daisy Creations. And this is a brand new design that premiered today on Ravelry and it features Leading Men Fiber Arts. It is originally designed for 2 gradients, a showstopper gradient and a soliloquy gradient. And yes, you do need to use both bases or figure out your yardage because the yardage is different and you do need one with 5 colors and one with 6. But I did a different version with a semi-solid and color ensemble pack. It's a showstopper gradient, but it's not a true gradient, it's a color ensemble to show a different way of doing this. So I finished it. And this is where I ended up down here. Sorry. It did grow and long, but I am super happy with this. So this features a skein of Soliloquy, which is 100% superwash BFL in the Haunted Wood. And then this color pack here, and there are subtle differences between these first three light ones, is our Seascape colorway. in a color ensemble. And so it is a biased wrap, and it blocked out beautifully, and I'm so happy with it. It used about 1,150 yards. And if you want to knit one of these, because this was a lot of fun to knit, and the lace, it's not that bad. I didn't want to necessarily travel with it, but you could always change up the lace, or I was selling somebody on, these are garter. You can make all this just stockinette in the center. Just keep your shaping. It's up to you. But the Double Dipper Wrap by Lisa Ross, it's now available on Ravelry. It is 50% off with no coupon needed from now to today, which is July 30th, through Monday, August 6th. So you have a whole week You have a week to get it at 50% off. So go check it out. It is linked in the show notes. So that's that.
Nice. I really like that. I think that makes sense to use a gradient pack.
Yeah, because you can definitely use 2 gradients, but, to use the 6 with the colors and then a semi-solid, one, it's a little cheaper because to get another soliloquy gradient is a little more expensive than just a regular skein. But, yeah, so.
Sporty.
Yeah, I like it. So I was glad to finish that so I can showcase that this weekend and show both options. And so that's all I finished, but it's a doozy. So.
That is pretty.
Thank you.
I finished something. I know. We're all shocked, including myself. But I finished my watermelon tourmaline socks, and I love them. I haven't blocked them yet, but they're outer out of Vesper, and I used a size 0 needle, and I really think that guys, real talk, I might have to go down to a 00, and that makes me like super sad, but I don't know. I think it might just be this yarn because it has been wound for a little bit, so I don't know if that might have made a difference. We'll see. I'm not ruling it as a total, this is for sure what we're going to do. Because I think my gauge looks good, but I think it could be a little bit tighter in places. So, we shall see. But I love these. Also, thanks everyone for commenting on my story. I do love me the watermelon firework bus emporium pin idea in which Steve threw out there. But I have no desire to make it, so sorry. But it is hilarious. I actually got these done 2 days after 4th of July, so my goal was to have them done by 4th of July, but a couple of days after isn't too bad either. So, pretty excited about these.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, we are tied. Let's see if somebody wins in the whip department.
I'm fairly certain I am not taking the lead on that.
Yikes. All right, so first for me is Cloudless by Subi Samola. And she is the one who's designed the ground pepper sweater that we sell kits for on our website, and that shows that has been outrageously popular. So I'm going to be kitting this up once I get the sample done. But I am knitting this out of Leading Men Fiber Arts Monologue, which is a single-ply superwash merino silk and yak base in the Head in the Clouds and Raspberry Parfait. And I have not gotten a whole lot of love on this, but it's a simple top-down striped pullover with no sleeves, really. This is it on the sleeves. You don't go back and pick anything up. But you start in the back, and then you pick up and you knit forward until you get to the V-neck, and then you join in the round. So I'm loving this. Everybody who touches this loves this.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
So there's that. And that's being knit on a size 3 and 4 US, which is a 3.25 and a 3.5 millimeter needles. Now, that being said, I am going to tell you, with this particular bag, this is a Darn Yarn MN bag, which I love, that I picked up at YarnCon. You can see in here, I don't know, maybe you can't, the amount of like pillage on the yarn, and it's kind of on the outside too. That's the nature of soft yarns. So the yak, one, because it's a single ply, but two, the yak is so soft, it's a very short staple. So it's gonna pill and floof. I mean, that's the trade-off you get with fibers. If you want a very, very soft yarn that's a true wool, it's going to be a short staple, which means it's going to pill more. It's the nature of wool. Next up, my Pop the Cork socks. I've worked on a little bit. I took these with me yesterday on the road. This is knit out of Opal in color number 9286, which translates, the German word I'm not going to pronounce, but it translates into Pop the Cork. And I'm knitting these on a size 1 US 2.25 millimeter needles. This is still my first one, but I've completed the heel turn and decreasing out the gusset. And I did a Eye of Partridge heel. I think that's where you slip one, knit one, and then you purl back. It's been so long since I've had to look it up. But so I'm just working my way down the foot. I'm about halfway down the foot. These are going to be for Andy's dad for Christmas. So, and he's got a little bit of a smaller foot than Andy or myself. So I am not planning on trying to get them to match. I'm going to finish and then just keep going. So, and that's in my Multi-Crafty Guy Makes bag, which he does these upcycled men's shirts and jeans sometimes. I have bags with jeans at the bottom that he does. So, like that. Next up, I did put a little bit of work on at the Super Summer Knit Together during the retreat, not at the market because I had no time to knit at the market, which is good. I'm calling them my 90s garage band socks because I never named the sock blank, which looks like that. So I'm calling it 90s garage band. And I did work on these a little bit. I did finish decreasing the gusset on these ones. I do love how these are turning out. I got decently through the foot. This is what I worked on the last night while we were chit-chatting. So I'm probably close-ish to the toe. I don't know. I gotta look at my counter. But there's that. And I'm using our Darkest Hour colorway mini skein for the cuff, heel, and toe. It's a good way to take a single knit sock blank and they're going to be fraternal. They're not going to match exactly, but if you want some more symmetry, putting in those cuffed heels and toes, popping a mini skein. That's why I always take people who are going to buy a sock blank and I'm like, hey, look at our, mini skein options if you're interested. It's a good way to draw all that together. Next up is a new project that I cast on last night, and this is the last one I'm going to show you. I did work on my granny square blanket, but again, I want to finish a row before I show you. So in my Bags by Awesome Granny bag, which she generously donated to the show for us to review several times now, is 7 balls of worsted. There are 7 balls of worsted in here. So, and this is her normal large size. Just saying. This is what she's always gifted to us along with a matching Notions pouch.
And it's extremely generous.
And it's got the cutest fall leaves on the inside. I might kind of have a theme with this. So I have been dying to knit a sweater out of our Independent Will colorway. Now, originally I wanted to do a fingering weight cardigan. However, I was looking through my queue and my eye got caught on this pattern, and then I realized it was gifted to me by none other than Leslie of the Knit Girls, you don't call me Les, years ago. And so I was like, hey, it's a Brooklyn tweed pattern, and I don't have to buy it because those are not cheap. Let me just tell you. Which I get, especially with sweater patterns. But he's a little more expensive than other designers. I did not bring it over here. I meant to bring the cover page, but I am knitting Brownstone by Jared Flood, and it calls for a worsted weight. And it is a V-neck pullover with a shawl collar, a very small ribbed shawl collar on it. And it has 2 toggle buttons right here to close the V-neck. So simple, worsted weight, lots of stockinette, really can show off this massage speckle colorway of ours. So this is going to be my Rhinebeck sweater. Yes, you heard yourself right. Rhinebeck. I am officially going to Rhinebeck. Why,
Sorry.
you say? Because, remember a couple episodes ago I was very, very sad because we were not accepted into Indie Untangled. And I had high hopes of getting into that show and being able to kind of mesh work and going on this trip so that I knew I would finally be able to go to Rhinebeck. And we didn't get in. But the Thursday last week while I was in Nashville, Andy texted me and said, "Hey, did you read your email?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Well, you might want to." Turns out a vendor had dropped out of India Untangled, and they invited us to come vend. So, Leading Men Fiber Arts is going to be at India Untangled the night before Rhinebeck, Friday, the 20th? Something. I don't know. It's the Friday before Rhinebeck. In Saugerties, New York, which is about an hour outside of Rhinebeck, I've heard. But it's going to be a wonderful event. It is 7 hours this year instead of like 3 or 4. And they have already sold out of all of their tickets, unfortunately. And they had a generous amount. I think they did 2-hour time slots, 3 2-hour time slots of 300 tickets each. And then they have an open free ticket for the last hour, which may still be available. I'm not sure, but you can definitely check that out if you Google India Untangled. But yeah, so Leading Men Fiber Arts is going to be there. Andy's going to be there to experience Rhinebeck with me. And I'm super excited. So we're going to go to Rhinebeck on Saturday. And then we're going to take the van and start driving home Saturday night because we have to get home for a day or two before we head to SAF in North Carolina the next weekend. But I'm so excited. I'm so worried about having enough yarn. But I'm so excited. So I'm going to have a Rhinebeck sweater. So I started, you have to knit the sleeves first. I mean, come on. You're lucky this is a Rhinebeck sweater. But I finished the ribbing on the first cuff. I am alternating skeins. And I'm magic looping.
What?
I know. I'm magic looping.
Buy yourself a lotto ticket.
Because I did not want to deal with some DPNs. So here's the ribbing of my first sleeve. Look at those colors show up with this fancy dancy lighting. I don't have to be like, wait, no, hold it this way.
Guys, I feel so Beyonce right now.
We've got the fan going because it's a little warm up here. But we got the fan rotating and the lights on.
I was posing so
Who
hard.
run the world?
Girls.
And the sweater's being knit on a size 8 through 6. You use 8, 7, and 6, which is in between a 5 and 4 millimeters. So, it's a bottom-up raglan is the construction. So, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so that's all I'm working on. But I will be casting something else on soon.
Okay, so I've been diligently working on this shawl for a couple of days now. I mean, like, I had been working on it prior to us recording, but, like, to be fair, I like this shawl, but I was not super in love with my progress, only because the first couple of sections are not super intricate, like, not super, I don't want to say this.
They were mindless. A little too mindless.
Yeah. And so, this section that I'm working on right now is a little bit mindless, but I am digging the effect so much that it doesn't matter to me. Excuse me. But what I love about this shawl is the fringe shawl by... Oops, I almost made a mistake, and we did not want that. It's by Spruce Lane Designs, and I am using 2... sorry, I thought I could do this, and clearly I can't talk and knit at the same time. And I apologize, because I would have thought that I would have been here at this point by now, this many years in, that it would be okay to do this, but clearly not. But anyways, I'm using size 5 US needles, in the Zings, yeah. And they are a 3.75 millimeter. But, okay. And it's been a while since I've actually looked at the yarn, too, so let's fancy that as well.
Let me see if my memory's good. Cascade Heritage.
Nope.
Oh.
It is Menos del Uruguay in the Alegria base, and the foil colorway, and the cactus flower. And I have it in my mini moon bag. But, I really love this, guys. So, this is what it's looking like. Okay. So down here at the bottom, we got a little bit of just stockinette and then striping, and then we got this lace jazz and then more striping, but this is where I am loving this part. It looks super hard, but it is not. And I I love how neatly it's turning out because I'm counting every row and
Funny when you count,
it turns
things
out
don't turn out.
I know. And it's so easy to find where you made a mistake because visually you can be like, oh yeah, that's where I messed up. So, I really love this. Again, the cactus flower is the pink and then the foil is the gray.
Really?
Well, I just want to make sure you guys know.
And that was the friend shawl, because it sounded
Yes.
like she said the fringe shawl before.
Sorry. It is the Friend Shawl by Spruce Lane Designs.
Like we are friends,
Yes.
but singular, not plural.
Yes. I initially was going to make this for Steve, but then I said nope. Because the colors that I originally chose were colors that Steve actually picked out in our local yarn store at Hand-Dyed Holidays, and they went too well together, and so I thought I would save it for another project. Maybe. If I'm not selfish. So, we shall see.
Cool. All right, so what's in rehearsal? What are we going to cast on? I actually have a new project because I finished that wrap and, the sweater should take its place, but I was like, I need something else. So I random number generated my stash and I picked for me a new acquisition that I picked up at ZK off the Knit Buffalo yarn truck, which Jenna runs. She also dyes yarn, 716 knits. But this is from Spun Right Round, and this is her Squish DK, which is 100% superwash merino, 250 yards to 150 grams. Sounds familiar. In the Bug Jar colorway, which looks like that. Look, oh my gosh, I love these lights. I don't have to move it. A bug jar. Anyway, and so when I put in this yarn to see what patterns recommended for it, it recommended this pattern. And not only this pattern, but it used the same colorway in the same yarn. And I had the computer pronounce this for me, and the computer did it, but none of the dictionary websites had a little speak me button, So it's Circumvolute by Hunter Hammerson. And it is a bit of a pricey pattern for a hat. It's $6.95, I think. But you do get two completely different hat patterns with two different crowns and everything. So that being said, it's like you're paying, $4 or $3.50 for a hat pattern, or less. So it's really not that bad. And I will come back to this and knit another hat at some point. But yeah, so circumvolute is a verb to wind or turn, especially in an inward spiral. So I'm going to do hat A on this one out of this skein, and I will cast that on here in the next couple of days, and that will go into my pile for Operation Chemo Comfort.
Nice.
So that's exciting. What are you planning on working on? Just keep working on your friend shawl?
I am. It's going to be busy.
Cool.
With this and other things.
Very true. Very true.
Mainly fair.
Especially through this next week.
Yeah.
And then Sunday she's going to be drop dead on the ground.
I have to lead fair pack up. I am a little bit nervous about that.
You'll be fine.
It'll be
This ain't your first rodeo.
I know it's not, but I'm just thinking about it.
So let's move into behind the scenes, my spinning. I just quickly am going to show you the fiber I have left to spin of the Three Waters Farm Rambouillet in the Summer's End colorway. This is the last third of the second 2 ounces. So I've spun the first 2 ounces, and then I split the second 2 into thirds. I'm on the second of the third, and this is the third of the third. So, enjoying that, but again, I gotta be home to spin. I mean, I don't have to be. I was gonna take it. I took it to ZK. I was gonna take it to SSK, and then I was like, I'm lazy. It's super easy, but I just didn't want to set it up. And now that fan is making me super chilly. She's probably like, I could use more of it. And I'm like, my toes are cold.
Aww. Someone's wearing shoes and someone is not.
Yeah, you're wearing shoes in my house upstairs.
Nope.
On my beautifully cleaned carpets. No, I'm just kidding. My carpets are so disgusting. From the people before, as well as our dogs when they used to be up here. But we need to get it recarpeted up here. So, in the scene shop, our other crafts, I am continuing to cross stitch. I'm working on a dimensions kit in the moment. And it says, live life in the moment. I'm doing this 2/2 or over 2 on a 28 count even weave that I swapped out for the Ada in the kit, and I'm working on the word life. And that's where I'm at there. So a little bit of progress. And then weaving. I did finish my second project. The third is on the loom, but it's kind of hard to bring up here and everything, so you'll just see finished objects. But I went kind of cheapo on this, and when our Walmart closed, I lost the show notes. No, I didn't. I can get them. Maybe. I don't know. When our Walmart closed, which, by the way, Callie is no longer Walmart, Miss Walmart, whatever.
Little Miss Walmart.
Little Miss Walmart, 1989.
I was a regional winner.
Our Walmart closed in my little town, which is fine because it's not fine because you realize all these little things you go there to get, and now we're trying to order from Walmart online because we don't want to drive a half hour to go get Swiffer dusters and air fresheners and anyway.
Yeah, makes a big difference.
But it is closed, and so I packed up on a bunch of different Lion Brand mandala color changings to weave with, and Red Heart Super Saver to use as the warp. And so that's what this one is. I used 1/2 of a mandala, and it's super long. And I think there's a difference between the mandala's DK, whereas the Super Saver is more of an Aran. So it kind of gives it more of an open look, but I think it's kind of cool actually.
Yeah.
So it started down here with this kind of tan peachy color. And I learned how to do hem stitch, but my tensioning is still... I've learned how to throw in waste yarn at the beginning too, so that you can get your tension down before you start using your real yarn, which I would have liked to have known here. And then I tried to hem stitch after the fact on those, and I was just... But it's hem stitching is a neater way to give to finish off than just knotting, so you don't actually have to knot your fringe. But it starts off here with the peach, and then it goes into white, and then keeps going, into yellow, and then it has more colors in it that I didn't get to go to. So, and then you can see my better hem stitching up here. So, this is a fun scarf, and it's not the softest thing, but it's not that bad. And super long. And I think actually I'm going to put these out at Stitches, my first 2 scarves. And maybe if I finish the third thing, we'll see. But I don't know if I'll finish that this week. But I actually thought this was kind of cool. So I'm liking doing scarves. I'm trying to do something the full width of the rigid huddle. And I'm not liking doing all the way up to the edges because of a multitude of reasons. So I don't know if it's that great. But I don't know if it's going to be long enough to be a wrap, which is what I was intending. It might be a table runner for a table. But I'm going to keep this on because it's keeping me warm with the fan on. And the remote for the fan's over there. So that's all I've been up to on my other crafts. Okay, so let's move along. And I should tell you the Lion Brand mandala, the weft on this, the color changing, is in the serpent colorway on that. So, and Super Saver in black. Anyway, so let's move into the spotlight. What are we watching and reading? I'm going to quickly go through shows because Andy and I have actually been making an active attempt to spend a couple of nights a week together on the couch in the same room in the evenings, spending time together. Which you think, boy, you guys work together and live together and everything together, but we actually work in different rooms when we dye yarn, and, you know, so it's nice to actually connect and have some time. So during dinner, we're still watching Grace and Frankie season 4. We're almost done with that. We did finish up season 5 of House of Cards. We had like 3 episodes left, and we waited months before finishing it. I mean, before the Kevin Spacey thing. And so the last season, the final season, is coming out sometime this year, and we know Kevin Spacey's not returning. But I'm excited to see what they do with it, because it is a really well-crafted show for being a political drama. My sister and I are still watching The Sinner, Season 1. Season 2 is about to air on USA. It is a completely new storyline, but one of the characters, one of the cops, crosses over. That's the connection between Season 1 and Season 2. So I think we have like 3 more episodes to watch out of Season 1. New show on Hulu. So we got rid of cable, even though we still have it. They haven't cut us off in like 3 weeks. We need to call though, because we upped our internet for that, and we don't feel like they've upped the internet speeds and stuff. But anyway, we got Hulu Live actually. I don't know. Andy deals with all that. But there's a new Hulu show that came out that's produced by Stephen King and J.J. Abrams, and it is called Castle Rock. And there are so many draw-ins from all of Stephen King's novels, and there's a lot of things that I pass over my head. Like it's set at Shawshank Penitentiary, which I've never seen The Green Mile, so I don't know much about that, and there was nods to that I missed. But there are like subtle nods to Pet Cemetery and so many different stories.
But could you get it even if you didn't know?
Well, like I knew Shawshank Redemption was from, or Shawshank Penitentiary was from The Green Mile.
Yeah.
And like there was something about, oh, this dog died and da 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 da, and this lady's crazy, and he thinks, oh, she wants me to make sure the dog's still dead. So they were digging him up in the backyard, and Pet's coming back alive. And there are actors from other Stephen King movies, like what's her name? Sissy Spacek is in it, who was the original Carrie, and one of the Skarsgårds, Bill? Is it Bill? No, the younger one. He was the new It. He was the new clown in It. He's in it. But basically, the premise is a boy shows up being trapped in a cage in a well at the bottom part of an abandoned part of this jail in Shawshank. And this is after the warden, on his last day of work, commits suicide in this small town. And so it's figuring out who is this kid. And it's... They released the first 3 episodes. That's the thing about Netflix compared to Hulu. Netflix drops a whole season, whereas Hulu releases a new episode every week. But that being said, we thought we were only going to get 1 episode the first episode. They had dropped the first 3. And I think that's good because they want to make sure that they grab you and you don't just go, oh, well, nah. And you don't get invested in the story. So we did watch all 3 episodes in the first night, and it was good. We enjoyed it. So some movies we watched. Andy wanted to watch, and I hate to say it, but it was actually kind of a chuckle fest. Father of the Year with David Spade. It's a Netflix original movie. But basically, he plays white trash very well, and his son comes back from graduating college valedictorian and is living at home the summer before moving off to New York to do a big science job, and how his life unfolds and his father impacts that. So, and then I came across and watched an older movie, 28 Weeks Later. This is the sequel to 28 Days Later. It's a zombie film. This one came out in 2007, but I was like, hey, I wanted a somewhat scary movie. It was alright. It wasn't that great, but it was okay. So, enjoyed that. So that's what I've been watching and reading. I'm still listening to the audiobook I've been listening to forever and a day.
Nice. Sorry. Just, crossing things off. Things that I have been reading. I'm still reading The Mothers by Brett something. And it has been a little bit of a slog for me, which is a little bit surprising because it won a bunch of acclaim to it. I'm fairly certain that it's not won certain awards because I think that's still early because it was recently published. But I could be wrong on that. It was, excuse me. Sorry. It was a Target Diversity Book Club pick. When I first found out about it, it was featured on Goodreads, and it was also a part of the Skim. It's a daily email newsletter with just global news in it, and then like national news, and just kind of pop culture sprinkled throughout. So the book in itself is a little bit of a slog because it's told through a multitude of perspectives, and I really have no sympathy for the main character just yet. I have a feeling in the next chapter or 2 I might, but I kind of, that's hard. When you can't, like, identify with the protagonist, or at least one of them, that's hard. And so I'm reading that. The things that I'm watching, I watched The Incredibles 2, which I really enjoyed. I thought the message of the movie was timely, because The Incredibles take place in the 1960s. They did one of those Disney Easter egg things where the newspaper that one of the characters was reading was like 1964 or something akin to that. But it was, spoiler alert, it's about spending a lot of time in front of screens. So, like, TV screens were what they were kind of targeting at that time. And it was a timely message, and I think Disney kind of really hit the mark on that. Whether people took that away or not, I'm not totally for sure. But I thought it was a good lesson, especially working with kids in youth development. I think there's advantages to having screen time, and I think there's disadvantages too. Because, yeah, for a lot of things. Things that I also watched, I watched with my mom last night. It's called Victoria and Abdul. And it's about Queen Victoria. So I think if I'm right in this, it's Queen Elizabeth's great grandmother. I could be wrong on that, like I said. But I think that's the lineage. And her relationship with her Munchie, which is a teacher in India. He was not certified as a teacher. He was a commoner, but developed this relationship, and it is based on a true story. And Queen Victoria's son burned all of, like, the correspondence that the Queen wrote to him, to Abdul, and so for a long time this wasn't a relationship that the world knew about, just because of the way media and that kind of thing was portrayed, or lack thereof. But his journals were found, his private journals were found in 2010 and then made available. And so that's how the movie was made. And it was really good. I thought it was really well done. I think the son's name, Queen Victoria's son, is Bertie. But I can't remember if that's true or not. But he was played by Eddie Izzard, and Eddie Izzard does so many great character actors, and, like, I love to hate him, and that's how I felt in this movie. But it was really good, and I can't speak highly enough of the film. I thought it was really well shot. I thought the storyline was really intriguing, and yeah, I thought it was a really neat piece about Britain's history that wasn't super highlighted in history books and things like that, and especially because India, didn't have a great, how do I want to say this? Was not recognized as a great country and was thought beneath Britain for so long. And to see kind of like your common man, really champion to be the friend of Queen Victoria was pretty awesome. So I would actually really like to read his personal journals, and I don't know how I can get my hands on it. So any of our librarian friends, if you can shoot me a private message or text me or whatever, that'd be great. So
cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk stash enhancement. Like I said, I was actually really good at the SSK market. However, I still came home with a whole bag of stuff. So let me quickly show you some of the stuff we got with the retreat first. This was our goodie bag this year, which is a nice tote, but it does have a long strap, which I really liked. So you can make it into a messenger bag or whatnot. It does have a front big pocket on it that I don't have anything in. Some of the little goodies we got, this came from House of Yarn. I got a little Stanley the dog, lobster progress keeper. We got in this box is a little battery charging thing. We got a needle gauge, and what I thought was really cool, we got some rose gold stitch markers from Roses and Pearls. But I thought this was cool. It's a little bit of, it's not highlighter tape, but it's a little rainbow
That's cute.
tape. So I thought that was cute. Here you go.
Oh, thanks.
You probably get more use out of it than I would.
Awesome.
So there's that. And then I thought their shopping bags were really cool. So when you come through the market, you get a shopping bag, all the attendees and the vendors, and then they had like so many extra for people who came through the door. And they did run out. They had like 150 extra and they did run out. So these were the shopping bags. And I was wondering, what's this drawstring? And my sister's like, it's one of those you shove in there and then you can drawstring it so it can fit in your purse. So that was really cool. And then, this was a beading toolkit that Laura Nelkin literally threw at me at the end of the market. So it has stuff in there like floss and beads and materials included in the kit. Mini size 11 crochet hook, mini size 10 crochet hook, dental floss threader. Fill your kit with beads and you're good to go. So thank you, Laura. Not that you watch, but I appreciate it. So just wanted to show you those things. Now, the one thing I bought, you may have seen on Instagram or Facebook because it kind of blew up. I was like, oh, that's so cool to see so many people like this photo because it's Kismet. So I literally ran out of my booth. I saw this, somebody was at Laura Nelkin's table, and I like grabbed her shoulder and I was like, where'd you get this? And she said, I got it at Whimsy Stitches. And so I was like, Mandy, watch the booth. And I grabbed some cash and I went over there, and I'm glad I did because it was the last one they had. Are you ready to see Steve the alpaca? This is my one purchase. All right? I got a bag.
The photo is a cute photo.
Of Steve the alpaca. Just look. If you know me, I'm not wearing it today because I'm wearing the SSK shirt. But I wear plaid almost every day. And these glasses match my glasses. And not only is it on one side, it's on the other too. So everybody can be like, oh my god, that looks just like the guy holding it. So that was my one purchase in the whole entire market. But I had to have it. Even Andy's like, okay, I'll okay that. So. Oh, hold on. I mean, come on! Okay. You didn't know who was who, did you? I kept going and coming. And...
Should
I'll use it, I don't know. But... Alright, so I ordered the additional yarn or fiber in the goodie bag, and so I got some fiber from Hip Strings, and this is a custom blend, Oasis SSK 2018. It is 5 ounces of 50% superfine merino, 21% merino, 12.5% BFL Blueface Leicester, 12.5% Tussa Silk, and 4% Stellina. So that'll be fun to spin. I love their custom blended stuff that they can get so particular with the percentages. And then in the goodie bag, the yarn this year was from Amy Florence of the Stranded Dye Works and Stranded podcast. And this is her solo base, which is 100% superwash merino single ply fingering weight in the colorway 4224. I don't really know what that means, but it's 400 yards, and I thought it was a beautiful color.
Is that the zip code there in Nashville?
A zip code would have 5 numbers.
Sorry, I wasn't listening to how many there was.
4224.
That's only 4. Sorry. I'm sorry. It was a shot in the dark.
So this came in our goodie bag. So thank you, Amy Florence, for dyeing some beautiful yarn, because I wanted to pick up something from her because she's all the way from Great Britain. And I was like, well, when am I ever going to see her again? And I really only buy in person with all the shows I do, but I didn't have to because I got it in the goodie bag. But I did enjoy her yarn, and she came and got some of our yarn, so it's nice. All right, I did teach a breakout session, and one of the attendees was unable to make my breakout session on boomerangs because she got called into a work phone call. But she came in after the meeting, and she's like, hey, I picked up some of this yarn in London, and I want you to pick a skein, and it's supposed to be great for boomerangs because it won't pool or flash, which is the nice thing about a boomerang shape. And this is from I Knit or Dye, which is based out of London, and this is her different class pool party colorway. It is 100% superwash BFL. And 4-ply, 100 grams, 365 meters. I would say it's probably a 400 yards. And Just red and natural. So, not sure what I'm going to make with this. But. So, thank you if you gifted that to me. Thank you so much. And then, what else? So, they had a free table, and because weaving's a new thing, I'm like, I need a whole new stash for weaving, which Andy is getting real ticked off about. But I picked up 3 skeins of Knit Pick Swish Worsted, which is 100% superwash merino. They're 110 yards to 50 grams. And I picked up 3 balls that were laying on the table. This one is camel heather. This one is honey. And this one is rainforest heather. And I thought those would be fun to put together into a scarf. Maybe a plaid scarf. Getting plaid up in here. So thank you to whoever put that on the free table. But wait, there's more. So then there was literally more. People were putting stuff out throughout the weekend. And somebody put out this Rowan wool cotton, which I guess is discontinued. And I had picked up 4 balls of that. These are 50 grams again. 50% merino, 50% cotton. 123 yards each. This is, oh, I forget all these. They don't have the names on them, but they're online. So I picked up these 2 to go together. And then I picked up these 2 to go together. And then I was like, well, they could all play together. I don't know. But thank you to those who donated these, because they're going to go to a good home. In my weaving. Might be buying new stuff every time I go to the local yarn store that I don't even show you because it makes it onto the loom too quickly. But then, because I had given Laura Nelkin some yarn to design which is totally fine, but I was eyeing one of her patterns, and she had fingerless mitts, a cowl, and a shawl, all with the same kind of stitch pattern, and she had different kits and different yarns, and she's like, here, no, seriously, take one home. And I really liked the shawl, and I liked this particular dye style, and it's from the Lemonade Shop is the yarn, and it's for the Elixir shawl. Ooh. And it's a beaded with rainbows, and I've never had the Lemonade Shop, so the kit comes with a skein of Lemonade Shop in one of her colorways, I forget, and then it's got a rainbow's worth of beads to put in the shawl. So yeah, it's the Lemonade Shop's Mighty Sock. So
it's pretty.
I got that, and I didn't pay for it, so it doesn't count. Vendor prizes. So I like to support other dyers, and I actually I got a lot of tickets because I brought 6 sweaters, and you get 10 tickets per sweater, and then I had 5 things for the try it on room, and I got tickets there, and I got tickets here, and I got tickets everywhere. So I had a lot of tickets this year, which was nice. And I had put in for quite a few things, and I put a lot of my tickets in for that sweater lot for the worsted weight boxy. And because I knew then after I put in my tickets that that's what Mandy wanted, I was going to give it to her if I wanted anyway. But I was interested in for myself as well, but I didn't win it. That's okay, because my sister did. But I did win 2 other things. So I won from Gail's Art a Sweet Feet gradient in the Autumn Sonnet color. That looks like that. And I think what I'm going to do is on the Spice Market with this. What I'm going to pair it with, I don't know. But this is a 75-25 superwash merino nylon. Each mini skein is 150 yards, and so it's a total of 900 yards here between the 6 yards, or 6 skeins. So, and she does gradients like no other. Gail's Art was teaching again this year. Her dyeing class, I took her gradient class 2 years ago, and this year she's teaching silk scarves and sock blinks, which looked like a lot of fun. So thank you, Gail. We were ships passing in the night every time we saw each other. We didn't really get to hang out this year, but. And then I won a 3 skein fade of sport weight from Deep Dyed Yarns, who is Stephanie, based out of Kentucky, and I do a lot of vending with her. She was not at SSK, but she had donated for the door prize, and this is what I won. So I picked out a beautiful shawl that uses the fade technique, and this is called Mirrors. This beautiful teal. What teal and gray? Me? Never. This is called Mirrors, and this is called smoke and mirrors. So, and this is on her Align base, which is an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 320 yards. And all that can go back in my Steve the Alpaca bag. Oh gosh, you can't see it. Steve, hold on. Steve the Alpaca bag. It's too much.
The post was super cute.
So, yeah, that's all I came home with for. Guys, I spent $20. Technically 18. Granted, I paid for the goodie bag, or I paid for the goodie bag, and I added on the fiber, but I paid for that before I walked in the door. So, just saying. Do you have any stash enhancement?
I don't. I've been doing really good. Not in bags, but like, not project bags, but other bags, because I'm a bag whore.
I really need to stop. Andy and I had a discussion. It's just I have about added 30% more in the last couple of months, and I've added 30% to my stash. Like, my stash prior to a year ago, divide that in 3 and add that on top of what I had. That's crazy. I need to stop. But I love knitting. I love crafting. So.
And we love you.
Because I'm adorable as an alpaca, too. Alright. So, that being said, we have a giveaway this week. So, I pulled this out because I have been meaning to do this because I've had this and I was like, oh, I don't want to wait till the end of the year. And I was thinking Christmas in July. Well, I know we are 2 days away from the end of the July, but it is still July. So, this week's giveaway is for 3 skeins of Lily Sugar and Cream in a beautiful Christmas colorway. And this is in the mistletoe colorway. And you get 2 ounces and 95 yards each. So you can do a whole Christmas set of dishcloths or hand towels. You could weave if you're a weaver. You could weave some hand towels. Oh my gosh, I should have kept this and wove some hand towels. Don't tell me that now. I'm like, why am I giving this away? But I'm gonna give it away. So I'm giving all 3 skeins away. I'm really disappointed that I didn't think about that.
For shame.
So, to enter, you must be a member of the Dramatic Knits Ravelry group. You must post only once to the thread and answer the prompt. This week's prompt is, what's the craziest thing you've ever done? And then in parentheses, I put PG-13, please. Because I'm sure we all could answer something that ain't no PG-13. We could. Should we, though? On a public forum? Probably not. So let's keep it PG-13. And we will draw for a winner next time we record in 2 weeks, which should be August 12th. All right, a round of applause. Last episode, we announced our giveaway was for a skein of Twist Fiber Studio in her Fairview Fingering, which is a 75-25 superwash merino nylon in the Funky Kentucky colorway. This was her Kentucky Sheep and Wolf Festival colorway. And there is her tag. And the prompt last episode was, what's your favorite state, since this was state named. And the random number generator picked number 33, who is Holly at home, and that's Holly. And she said, I've lived all over the Midwest, and I haven't found my perfect place yet. I would love cooler summers and snow. Maybe Vermont. Well, I'd love cooler summers too, but if you've lived all over the the Midwest, you probably have experienced snow. We get enough of it here, but...
What would your answer be?
I already said this last episode.
I'm sorry.
I thought you watched last episode.
Not all of it.
What kind of a friend is she?
A horrible one. Ooh, look at my hair.
I had said, like, I really like hiking in Utah and Arizona, but I really liked Colorado too. So, kind of out west a little bit more. That's my unexplored area, is out west. I've been out there in a few capacities, but I really haven't had... I haven't had a lot really up east either, or on the East Coast. So there's a lot I still am excited to see.
I would say I've not really been too far out west, but I would probably say Massachusetts.
Cool.
So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
All right. So we want to remind you to enter anything you finish this month into our July 2018 Race to the Finished Object contest. There's a thread currently open that will close on the morning of the first Wednesday, and then we'll open a new thread for August's Race to the Finished Object contest. We'll have a prize from our prize pool, as well as a pattern from our featured designer, who is Corrado Lark. So thank you, Corrado, and make sure that every one of you gets all your finished objects that you finished this month posted into that thread. Each finished object is a separate entry, and each entry gets you into the drawing, a separate entry into the drawing. All right, so we are going to move into center stage, all things leading men, fiber arts. I would stick around though. I've got some news besides Indie Untangled and things I want to tell you about. So, first up, newsletter. We now have a newsletter. I bit the bullet and I reconfigured things, and we're now doing a newsletter. We've had a lot of people ask for it at shows, and we always said when we went full time, and then we're full time and we're busier than ever, but I'm dedicated to doing this. So, we've had a newsletter every month for our wholesalers, but now we're going to have it for our customers. So there are several ways you can sign up for our newsletter if you're interested. You can go to our website, leadingmenfiberarts.bigcartel.com, and scroll all the way to the bottom, and it says newsletter, and then you click there, and then the form is right there. You put your first and last name in on that one, and your email, and you're good to go. However, if you're on the website for about 5 seconds, there is now a pop-up form that will show up, and you could just enter your email and hit submit, or you can click the little X if you don't want the newsletter. That is on the website. But if you are a social media follower and you go to our Facebook group, off to the left-hand side is a tab that says newsletter, and you can easily fill out the form there as well. But wait, there is more. What? So I just got in the mail today for Stitches Midwest. Callie saw me putting it together, is a newsletter kiosk for an iPad. So we will have newsletter signups in our booth. If you see us in person and like what you see and want to be in the know of new colorways, events, discounts and deals, sales, new patterns that are coming out. I'm promised not to spam you, but I'm aiming for probably about a once a week newsletter, just depending. It might come or go. Right now we're doing featured designers for Stitches Midwest of the designers that will be in our booth. So every day I've been giving a new, due diligence and spotlighting some designers and showing you their new designs before they even come out. So, there's cool things to see there. So, if you'd like to sign up, we'd love to have you, and we're excited to see where that goes. So, that's like a bucket list business thing I've been wanting to get done, and I made it happen, and I was super happy to do that because I'm not that tech savvy. So, the pop-up thing, I was like messing with some HTML in our shop, and I was like, oh god, I'm just going to break the whole shop. And I just copied and pasted something into somewhere because I couldn't find where exactly to put it, and it worked. So I was like, yay! I didn't crash the site.
Small victory! That's really a large victory.
So if you sign up for our newsletter here in the next few days, on Wednesday you will get a newsletter showing our new yarn, which you're going to see here, for August. So we have a new colorway every month. This year we're doing all 12 months. And August's new colorway is called Pretty Petals. I'm not going to lie, we were struggling with the name for this one, and it just looks like some pretty flowers, so I went with Pretty Petals. Sometimes, you have to, like, kiss, right? You know what kiss is? Keep it simple. So...
Sass bucket.
There we go. Keep it simple, sass bucket.
I think, is sass bucket hyphenated? Is it 2 words? Let's go with hyphenated.
Or keep it simple, sarsaparilla.
Sassy.
My middle name's Sarsaparilla.
Don't you love
we're
when
getting
we
a little
record
we're getting a little saucy over here. So you want to see the new colorway? I have fallen in love with this. Andy came up with it while we were in Nashville, and I was like, oh, that's pretty. And then I knit it up and I was like, oh, I really like this. So here it is in the skein. And we will have some of this with us at Stitches on a couple of bases, but not all. But you can custom order. So here is Pretty Petals. So it is one of our massage speckles, and it is a dark, rich royal purple with kind of a golden tobacco color and just the subtlest hints of pistachio in it. And so you're like, oh, that's pretty. Here's what it looks like knit up. So I already knit the swatch. Look at that. I think a sweater would be amazing out of this.
I really like that.
And I love that you get true color all the time. So this is Pretty Petals. August 2018 colorway from Leading Men Fat Burns. Pre-orders will be available on Wednesday. They will go live at 10 a.m. Central Time, and they will be up through the 8th, at which point they will, pre-orders will shut down. So, that being said, let's talk about where we're going to be. So, as you know, we are going to be at Stitches Midwest this weekend. It is one of our biggest shows of the year. We're super excited. We have some great booth neighbors of Black Cat Fibers and Wild Stitchers, and Stephen B's right across from us, and Casual Fashion Queens right behind him. So, it's just going to be a hoot and a half down our aisle. We are in booths 310 through 314. So, come check us out there. And we are in the second row in the third column. Second column, actually, technically. So, and that is this Thursday, August 2nd. It is open from 5 to 8 p.m. for attendees. And then the market is open 10 to 6 on Friday and Saturday, and 10 to 4 on Sunday. And we will have 2 featured designers in our booth on Friday, and that will be Corey Eichelberger, I Rock Knits, and Megan Williams, Just Run Knit. They will be in our booth with brand new designs, and all of their designs showcased and able to purchase or look at and try on Friday. On Saturday, we will have Stephanie Lotvin, Telly B Knits, and Lisa Ross, Paper Daisy Creations. They have new designs coming out as well as all of their designs. And then on Sunday, we have Dallas Ann Prentice, also known as the Violet Pie, and she's releasing 2 new designs featuring our yarns on Sunday. So if you're there all weekend, come by every day and come say hi and take a look. There will also be demos in our booth on Saturday with Lisa in the morning at 10:30. She will be demoing, selecting colors for mosaic knitting, and then Stephanie is at 2 p.m. in our booth, and she is doing a demo on playing with your color joy or something to that effect. There's a description in our thread on Ravelry. We have a thread with all the designers, so which I need to put today's thread there. Anyway, then the following weekend on Saturday, we will be in Adrian, Michigan at Yarn Hoppers for a trunk show. So that is a shop in Adrian, Michigan. And if you are within driving distance, we hope you'll come by. We will be there on August 11th during normal shop hours. I'm not sure. Shop hours are usually 10 to 4, 10 to 5. At most of these places. So we hope you'll stop on by. We will have what we have left from Stitches and whatever else we're able to dye up at the week in between. So then that Sunday we'll be back and able to record, and we'll be waiting on that new announcement to come. But yeah, so thank you for sticking with us. This is kind of a doozy, an hour and 20, but hopefully you like the new lighting. I will finagle with the angles so that I'll just talk like this so you don't get the glare. Hey girl. With my sassy scarf.
With your sassy bag.
My name is Steve Sarsaparilla.
What is your initials? Right? SSF?
Yeah. Okay.
Sarsaparilla starts with an S.
Going too far. I'm gonna get my sass all over you. Anyway, we're gonna go before things get even more awkward. So, if you are gonna be at Stitches or at the trunk show, please come and say hi. I'm awkward. You don't be awkward, because then we're just 2 awkward people, and then we say hi and we'll get over it anyway. But do come say hi. And yeah. So until we see you again in 2 weeks,
We hope you
knit something dramatic.